Hello and welcome to yet another edition of the program Business Time. My name is William Kumwembe. This is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines. And coming up in the program today, FDH Bank IPO oversubscribed. We speak to the bank's managing director, and despair as tobacco revenue continues to dwindle. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned if you could.
Sometimes things change. And this time around, things have changed. The way we see things, the way we work, and the ways of our community has changed. The future can seem uncertain, but the discovery of living at ease simply takes a step at a time. So let's walk with you. In life, work, family, and all that's in between. Reach out from where you are, and Britain will be with you every step of the way.
Hello and welcome. We begin the program here at the FDH Bank boardroom, where not so long ago a decision was made to have the bank listed on the Malawi Stock Exchange. And now the initial public offer that was issued about a month ago, results are out. And the bank has since announced that the offer was oversubscribed by about 329 million kwacha. I caught up with the bank's managing director, Elias Ngalande, for an insight on how the month has been and what the results mean to the bank.
We've received an oversubscription. We were looking for 1.4 billion shares to be subscribed to. We've received a little more than that, so we are quite happy. There are several factors. One is that Malawians have become of age. They know a good thing when they see it. And I think they saw that they could bank on the success of FDH Bank and really buy shares so that they can grow with us. That could be one. The other is I think people want to take pride in a bank that we have characterized as Malawian grown. So I think that is a pride. After all, we always talk about buy Malawian and so on. So why not do the same with the shares of a local bank? We anticipate that will inject some more excitement into the Malawi Stock Exchange. I think people have been saying that things have not been moving quite as much. We think this brings something else to be excited about, and we'll see other shares also moving as a result of the fact that a 16th counter has joined. It's not surprising. The government has decided to hold on to their shares, and that's fine with us. When the communication came, we went back to our shareholders to indicate that government was not ready to offload at this stage. And our shareholders, the majority shareholder said, no, in that case, I'll put in the 5% that would have come from government. So that is not surprising. But for us, part of the reason why we had to list was that at the time that we bought Malawi Savings Bank, there was a sale agreement. And in that sale agreement, there was an undertaking that the bank would list. And upon listing, government would dilute its shareholding in FDH Bank. As far as we are concerned, we have fulfilled that contractual obligation. So we've moved beyond that agreement to fulfill it. The rest is up to government to decide when they will offload their 5%. I think the future holds some bright results for us. You see, the financial sector is like the lifeblood of the economy. As long as there's an economy, growing or not growing, you still need banking services. Because even at a time like this, as we are gripped by COVID, there are financial transactions that must take place. In order for us to manage COVID, We need financial transactions to continue. In order for households to function, they need the financial services to be available. So it's like at the beginning of April when we were contemplating lockdown, banking was actually classified as an essential service because we all need money in order to function. So we can see that I think the people that subscribed to our shares took a very prudent approach to the whole thing because banking will always be there as long as there's an economy around. They should look forward to a successful business. We are going to deliver results that they will be proud of because we do know that we now have an obligation to the common man. And the man on the street is the one who has bought these shares. So we have to deliver on the focus that we have given them. So the message to them is, watch this space. We are going to deliver for you. That's my message to them.
Now, revenue from tobacco, Malawi's major forex earner, has continued to dwindle in the recent past. For instance, in the past 10 years, earnings from tobacco has gone down by about 30%. Recent figures show that by end of week 14 in this selling season, the leaf had raked in about $140.9 million US. Justin Mkweo has the whole story in this report.
In week 14 this year, 92.7 million kilograms of all tobacco types have been traded, from which proceeds amounting to $140.9 million have been realized, while during the same period last year, 114.6 million kilograms of tobacco had been sold, valued at $170.6 million. Even though this is so, average prices for all types of tobacco seem to favor this market season, as by the end of week 14, the cumulative average price stood at $1.52 per kg compared to $1.49 per kg recorded during the same period last year, which presents an average gain of 3 cents per kg over last year's prices. According to an analysis from AHL Tobacco Sales Limited, a shift in demand from thins to budded leaf styles is having a positive impact on the seasonal average prices of all tobacco types this year compared to that traded during the same period in 2019. Speaking in an interview, the Chief Executive Officer for TC, Kai Sadala, said the COVID-19 pandemic has highly affected this market season. Sadala said the pandemic forced them to put restrictions which robbed them the liberty to operate the market in a normal manner. He said that the kind of restrictions that they had put on the market made it very difficult for them to move enough volumes as compared to last year, but only expressed hope for the best as the market continues.
The main reason really is what we have been saying in the past, that this season we started not in the normal manner the way we do with the ordinarily because of the COVID. So the kind of restrictions that we put on the market made it very difficult for us to move enough volumes as compared to last year because of the restrictions. So our hope is that probably maybe as we move forward, which we have seen now, because most of the markets are now operating on full capacity generally, except for Limbe, which seems that stocks are now dwindling. And as you may have noted, we have already announced dates for closure of Limbe market.
Last year, the country also saw a decrease in the sales of the leaf compared to the preceding year, as a total of 165.7 million kilograms of all tobacco types was traded, realizing around $237 million, while in 2018, 202 million kilograms were sold, earning $337.5 million. The leaf is the main export for the country, but it is facing tough resistance from the outside world on the back of anti-smoking lobby. Currently, all tobacco markets are operating, but Limbe will close this Friday.
Remember, this is Business Time, a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines. When we get back, government sets roadmap to creating 1 million jobs. We'll be right back. Now, unemployment remains high in the country, with most of the young people out of the job market. During the campaign trail, the now government promised to create about 1 million jobs. Minister of Labour is Ken Kandodo. Recently, he announced that the government has set a roadmap to ensure that the idea of creating 1 million jobs is feasible. And the government is working with the private sector players to ensure that the idea is attained. We have the whole story in this report.
Kandodo told journalists that the job centers will be in Blantyre, Lilongwe, Mzuzu, Zomba, Karonga, Kasungu, Mangocha and Luchenza in Cholo district. He says the centers will be point of access for job opportunities and vacancies. Employers would also be able to access information on people's employability.
In all these towns and cities, there will be a job center, which will be a place where people looking for jobs, they will be able to go there and find out what vacancies are available throughout Malawi. But also companies that want to employ or recruit people, they will be able to go to the same places and find out what skills are available. Which people are available that can suit the sort of profile that that employer wants to employ. So this is a new concept in Malawi, which we're going to adopt from countries outside Malawi who already have job centers in place. So we do believe that with the support of the private sector and the financial institutions, and the SMEs and the civil service, who once we set up a conducive system in place, we should start getting jobs in the economy, which is the intention of this government to create jobs for our people.
Institutions he has engaged so far include ADMAC, TVETA, and the FDH Bank. ADMAC Chief Executive Officer Felix Jumbe assured that the institution has the capacity to absorb a section of the youth seeking employment.
The future for ADMAC is very bright, and we are saying in ADMAC that the tiger is back, meaning that ADMAC has got to take its central role in the economic activities of this country. It is a hub where all the agricultural commodities get converted into money by us providing the market. So when we provide market for all the smallholder farmers, who are 4.2 million smallholder farmers in the country, we are providing employment, we are providing income, of which the Minister of Labour should count on us, not only creating 1 million jobs. As ADMAC, we are challenging them that we can create 4 million jobs.
TVETA Executive Director Wilson Nkoma echoed Jumbe's sentiments.
The Minister is so passionate to see things change in this sector of TVET, knowing that the TVET sector is also an entity that can contribute towards the creation of 1 million jobs that the current government is advocating. One other thing that has impressed me is that is equated the quality of education with what it takes to provide that quality. For example, he has alluded to the fact that if you want quality education, then you should be able to invest a little more into that education. That being the case, he has also emphasized that parents would not mind to pay an extra kwacha if they know that the quality that is going to be obtained from that institution will be high. So to me, I was happy that the minister has visited our region office, and he has shared a lot of insights that would help this sector contribute towards the job creation.
Corruption, energy wars, high transport costs, and rising government debt to the private sector are among major hindrances to creating job opportunities in the country.
Data must fall. This is what has been the case in the past week. Malawians on social media calling for a slash in cost of internet use in the country. Now, stakeholders, including the ICT Association of Malawi and other civil society organizations, have engaged the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, MACRA, to consider pushing mobile phone operators in the country to see the fall of internet costs in the country. Chumwemwe Mangazi has been following the story and now reports.
This comes against the background of internet charges in Malawi being the highest in the region and beyond. In an interview, ICTAM President Bram Fudzulani confirmed the development, saying a consortium of civil society organizations comprising of the ICT Association of Malawi, Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, Youth and Society, MHAB, and the Consumers Association of Malawi, KAMA, are taking the issue up with the regulator of the industry. He said they will submit demands which, among others, seek to remind MACRA of their role as a regulatory body as provided in the Communications Act of 2016. Among the issues submitted to MACRA were the call for internet prices to be reduced and that operators should be explicitly asking users to opt in to out-of-bundle rates when data bundle has finished. They further asked the regulator to look into issues of data bundles disappearing when in countries such as Kenya, Uganda, and South Africa, the bundles do not just disappear.
That is a very honest, observation. And that is why I think our campaign is not only targeting the operators. Our campaign is also engaging with government through the Minister of Information as well as the Minister of Finance to say, can we look at the tax regime on the ICT, not just internet, but just ICT, even gadgets. You find that even if the price of the internet were to be lowered, not many Malawians would afford to buy the bundles because most of Malawians do not have a smartphone because they can't afford. So we're saying, let us review the tax regime on all the gadgets that are being purchased on the market. So it's an honest opinion, and that is why we're engaging both government and the operators. We're asking the operators to consider revising the pricing, but also asking the government to review the tax regime. Malawians should have hope that things are going to change. We believe that we have leaders that are listening to the voice of the people. That goes to the business community as well. We believe that the business captains are going to listen to the voice of reason and come to a point where we can all have a win-win situation.
Michael Kayata is the acting executive director of the Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation.
What we are doing as organizations is that we are lobbying the government, but also internet companies, to reduce the cost of internet in Malawi. We are saying this, noting that many people are complaining that the cost of internet is way too high. if you look at, for example, the cost of a 10 gig data, for example, which is for a month, you find that it's 15,500, and that is way beyond the reach of most Malawians, because 15,000 is not small money. So people are saying, no, the cost of internet must go down, especially the cost of data bundles, especially this time when we have COVID-19, when people are being encouraged to work from home, when people are being discouraged from having physical meetings. We are saying that the government, but also the internet companies, must consider this, because it means people have no other option but to rely on online meetings, for example, rather than organizing physical meetings. They will just have to organize maybe Zoom meetings, Skype, or etc. And if it's communicating with friends or even doing business, you need the data bundles. And even learning, now that schools are closed, children are learning from home and they're using internet. But at the current rate of internet data bundles, it's not sustainable. Many families are complaining. They are actually, complaining that the cost is just too much. So we are asking that the government should consider this carefully, as well as internet companies, but also considering the fact that this is a human rights issue. The UN in 2016 declared the access to the internet as a basic human right, which means it has to be treated as a human right and not as a privilege or a favor. It's true, these companies are in business, but business is not just about making profits. It's also about delivering a service to people. Therefore, companies should not only look at profits or make more and more money, but should also consider that they have a responsibility to provide a service to Malawians, especially now that we have COVID-19, as I said. Companies have a social responsibility to make sure that people are not punished by circumstances, to make sure that despite the COVID-19, people are still able to carry out their normal duties. They're still able to communicate. They're still able to have meetings. They're also still able to learn in the case of children or learners, and also to do business in the case of business persons.
Accra Director General Henry Shamu confirmed meeting the civil society but could not diverge more details. Following the calls to have internet charges reduced, last week TNM announced a 70% cut of its internet data charges. The announcement was made by its Chief Executive Officer, Michael Butler, following a meeting with Minister of Information, Gospel Kazako. A statement released by Airtel Malawi at the weekend, signed by its Managing Director, Charles Kamoto, indicated that the company will engage relevant authorities on the matter.
Well, on that note, we've also come to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time, a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, then it doesn't make sense. Stay safe and bye for now.